boring. Where you can feast with the nectar of the gods. You'll always have a seat at Norse Hall.
Welcome everybody to Top Dog Coverage. It's your boy C-Dub and Dirty. We are here to talk football, nothing but football. That's what we do, it's what we love. But before that, you're going to follow us at Top Dog Coverage on X, Twitter, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere you guys can find us. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And I think that's about it. C-Dub, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, sir. Wacky Wednesday. Everything comes to fruition on Wednesdays. It's hump day.
Yeah, it's What Up Wednesday.
Yeah, man. That's how everything starts off. Starts off with a Monday, get through the hump on a Wednesday. It's all down the hump from there.
Yep. Well, we got a pretty big weekend coming up for us.
We do indeed. But before we start anything, let's do a big shout out to our sponsor, Norse Hall. Go to norse-hall.com, get some of their honey wine, which is mead. Okay, get some of that, and some of their hot sauce, which is spectacular. If you want one of these dope ass beats that we have going on here for our intro, you want to hit up FGM Label on Instagram. That's FGM Label. That's First God Movement Label, and I use them for personal stuff all of the time. So, with that being said, we're under 100 days, dude. We're ready to roll.
Yeah, it's coming by fast.
Yeah. Starting to like it little by little. A little bit more.
Most teams are in their mandatory mini camps right now, so we're that much closer to training camp and then preseason. Downhill from there.
Yeah, man. So many things have been happening. Voluntarily? No.
Voluntary?
See, you're having a tough time with it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
voluntary.
When you can just go when you want, that thing.
Yeah. If you're feeling it, you can go. That type of deal.
Yeah, that is the that has started and left already, and now everybody has to be at these camps now. So. And of course, everybody listening right now is like, yo, you idiot, it's called this. And I still can't say what it's called because it's not processing.
Those are ghosts. We can't hear them, but they can hear us.
They're called listeners, okay? That's very disrespectful on your end.
No, I'm telling you, that's the closest that we'll ever hear to have to ghosts.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, so far we've done the NFC East, the NFC North. And we're going to jump into a little bit of the... maybe not a little bit, probably all of the NFC West today. But before that...
I hope so. I hope it's all of it.
Yeah. But before that, let's jump into some news, baby!
That's sick.
All right. So... apparently, the Commanders are having a little bit of an issue with Terry McLaurin skipping minicamp. So, Big Boy's looking to get paid, my friend.
Yep.
And
deservedly so.
Yeah, deservedly so. He really does. Okay. He's currently owed $15.5 million base salary for 2025, and it's the final year of his deal. And the raises bring him closer to the top of the receiver market, which would increase his upfront earnings while also likely lowering his $25.5 million cap charge. So he's 29 years old, but he's still got the goods. And you know what? I'm going to check the over the cap real quick. Let's see what Commander has got. No, they got 21 million in there. So they can make something happen this year. Yeah, they can make the room, especially for a guy that's changing. Like, he's been there since the beginning. He was drafted there. This is one of those guys where you pay him. You pay this guy.
Yeah, and you look at the receiver depth. I mean, who's really behind him?
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? Let me just tip off of that. Noah Brown got hurt today at practice, so.
And that's no Deebo Samuel like slander, but he's got a completely different role than McLaurin.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think the Commanders will do the right thing here. He's owed. He's due. He's been through every quarterback since Kirk Cousins over there and before Kirk Cousins over there. So it's time to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give the man the last paycheck.
Yeah, because this will probably be his last actual big payday. Him being 29 and whatnot. So
I believe it, man.
Yeah, they deserve. He needs to get paid. They need to get the deal done so that we can get a mini camp and Jaden doesn't have to go through a sophomore slump minus a big weapon.
Yeah. And I think everything will happen. I think they realize what they have in Jaden Daniels, that they need that one weapon in there. They've upgraded some things on the defense, so I think everything, I don't think they're going to make a bad move here. So,
yeah.
What do you got on the news side?
Well, the worst kept secret marriage thing, I guess you would say. Aaron Rodgers finally signed his deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this has been a common kind of known fact since probably close to the combine. But he wanted to go do his thing, check out pyramids, go in darkness, whatever. And he didn't want to get any backlash from missing minicamp this year like he did with the Jets. So,
yeah.
Pittsburgh has their quarterback. It gives them a veteran presence in the locker room, helps with Will Howard's development. I mean, it makes sense. But now there's no dance partners left for like a Kirk Cousins or anybody else that's out there.
Yeah. And not for nothing. I'll say this. He was given the opportunity to slander the Jets name at the press conference in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Now, I know he said some stuff at Pat McAfee, but it doesn't matter. He always says what's on his mind on Pat McAfee. But he was asked what the difference is between this organization and the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. And he flat out said that I'm not going to slander the last organization that I was with, or, I'm not going to fall into the trap you guys are giving me. So good for him for making that decision. I think that speaks for all. Dare we
say he's maturing?
You never know. There's a possibility he could be. So
I mean, yeah, that's good. I'm glad. I mean, I think it makes sense. It gives them a plan at quarterback. They don't have to roll with just Rudolph back there this year. So, if he does great, cool. If not, I mean, they're going to have a lot of draft picks in this next draft. So,
yeah, and if not, we tried. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He knows where he's at as a quarterback in the NFL right now with his age and everything like that. So it's cool.
Yeah, and he wasn't completely awful last year. He had a lot more turnover plays, and his completion percentage wasn't what it normally is, but he was still serviceable.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. In other news, J.K. Dobbins signs with the Denver Broncos, baby. Okay, J.K. Dobbins looking for a place to go after the 2024 season with the Chargers, and before that, drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. So, look, last year made it through a couple games and everything, and this kind of lit it up in those first few games, first quarter of the year, and after that, he kind of slowed down a little bit. But it's looking like the deal is a $1.61 million deal, included just $50,000 guaranteed, it says.
Wow.
And I'm just going to make sure that's not like a typo or something like that. I always want to make sure,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And that says
What?
50. Says 50,000.
50,000? Yeah, that probably sounds about right. Because I mean, you just have the huge injury risk, so he's not going to be a big guaranteed money kind of guy.
Yeah. So I mean, looking at that though, if you take a look at the that running back room, looks pretty solidified. I'll just say that you got R.J. Harvey, you got Estime, McLaughlin, and now J.K. Dobbin. So if one of those guys goes down, you'll have one of those four guys are all good running backs. So compared with the situation that Sean Payton wants to be in with the run game, and what Bo Nix has to offer, and
Mm-hmm.
running that offense, I think it's a good look for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good move. And I'll stick with the same theme. Running back Nick Chubb signed with the Houston Texans.
There we go, baby.
1 year, $2.5 million deal. Nothing guaranteed, so he didn't even get the 50 grand. But I mean, obviously, that kind of speaks volumes to Nick Chubb. He's been a great player when he's healthy, but the dude has dealt with some devastating injuries.
Yeah.
He came back from that horrific knee injury that we saw. I think it was Monday Night Football against the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that was ugly. Brings back bad memories. But then when
Yeah.
he came back last year, he ended up breaking his foot too. So the dude's had a lot of injuries. So I hope that he can come back strong. He's going to be running behind Mixon, so he doesn't necessarily have to be the guy. But it'll be nice for Houston to have another piece in the offensive backfield for him.
Yeah.
Take some pressure off Stroud.
Certainly does. Actually, absolutely, certainly does. And if maybe look, we all know that he was a force to be reckoned with. Injury can really put that down to a lull, and maybe he does understand his age where he's at right now, and maybe he'll give it one last run.
Yeah.
See where it
Yeah, I
goes.
mean he's 29, so he still has a few more years left. As long as he can stay healthy, that's going to be the key part with it.
I thought, isn't it like the declining age though is like 28?
Yeah, I mean that's with all running backs. I mean he's over the hill in running back years, but it's also 2025, so all the medicines and the medical stuff has progressed. So you see all these athletes still being able to perform in their later years in athlete terms. Obviously, he's still
Yeah.
a very young man.
My man's got. I still think. I mean, because he was running at full capacity when he was intact, and I mean, it was a gruesome injury, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and what's to come with it,
Yes, sir.
Um, the Green Bay Packers decided to release Jair Alexander, and the Green Bay has come to an end. After talkings regarding with both a trade and a restructure took place in this offseason, the Pro Bowl corner will hit the free agency. And may I say that before this was happening, the Bills were looking to trade for him, and the answer was no from the Packers. So, with that being said, they might scoop him up.
Yeah, I'll say any early bets on where you think he's going to go?
I wouldn't be surprised if this is gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles pick him up. I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders pick him up. I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots pick him up. These are all solid teams that have the cap space to do it. And
What about this is just going off left field, like not really thinking about any of the depth charts and stuff. What about in Baltimore? What about Ravens?
I think it's a possibility. I'm trying to think of that defensive scheme on how that would work. Because he's actually a really good blitzer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows how to be utilized, and he's coachable, obviously, right? So
Yeah, his biggest issue is he's missed a lot of games over the last few years. As soon as he signed that extension with Green Bay, I think he missed 30, 40 games after that within 3 years.
And when he's in, he's stud. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Absolute stud.
exactly. He can help any team right now.
He really can. Yeah, and with that, it would be great to see anybody that gets him will be an absolute upgrade in that backfield. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think the last piece of news that I want to hit on is the veteran linebacker Jermaine Pratt. He was recently cut by Cincinnati. He rather quickly found a home with the Raiders, signing a deal. I think it was a max value of $4.78 million, and he'll have a base pay of $4.25 million for the Raiders. But that gives him another piece going over there to Pete Carroll, kind of a veteran tone setter. He started 88 games for the Bengals. So a good veteran leader presence over there. I like what they're doing in Las Vegas. They've added a bunch of leadership and a lot of talent to the team.
Yeah, it seems. Look, I think Pete Carroll knows what he has with the quarterback that he has right now, and he kind of wants to make that quick run as fast as he can. He's got a new toy to work with in the offense, and why not? Continue to build on that defense, which so far they drafted pretty decent on the defensive line there too. So why not add to it as much as he can, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You got any other news for us?
I'll say one other or two other things just real quick. I think that we all knew that this was coming, but JJ Watt obviously kind of holding out here at minicamp, and
JJ, he's not coming back to CBS. He wants more money.
Well, I would like for JJ to get some more money, but I also want his brother TJ.
Okay.
Yeah, TJ to get his money too, because he's well deserved as well. So he is missing out on minicamp right now with the Steelers, and we're gonna find out if they're gonna pay him, and I think he's well deserved for it. He has come in and held every end of every bargain so far. So, and with that, one other thing, the Colts are going to work out QB Desmond Ridder. This does not look very good. If you already have three, one was drafted, you have Daniel Jones, and then you also have Anthony Richardson. Why are you bringing in Desmond Ridder unless he's just a camp body?
Well, Anthony Richardson has that shoulder injury he's dealing with right now, so it's probably a camp body to throw right now. And there's no timetable on his return, so
that's dangerous. That has been the talk of his career. Is that you never know when he's coming back.
Well, yeah, but also I think it kind of is almost a blessing in disguise because his biggest key is he needs to develop. I mean, he only had, maybe 10, 11 starts coming out of college?
Yeah.
And he's this physical specimen who's super young, just very inexperienced, similar to what Trey Lance was. Right? So it would be bet in his long-term future and be better if he sat, developed, learned. I mean, look what happened last year. After he got benched a few games and he had to come back, he played a lot better than he did. So
it's interesting to see how it all comes together. And I don't know. I if he keeps getting hurt though, you have to also take that what you learned and apply it, right? So that's going to be the hard part if he can't get on the field. But I hope he does. He's a freak of an athlete. He's huge, enormous.
And his potential's through the roof. It's just he's got to put it all together.
Yeah. So, but that is it with the news. And I think a lot of talk has been happening, especially in our Dynasty League. Our Dynasty has been going absolutely wild, right? We're not going to have a whole section here. We're going to get into, we'll have our fantasy shows and stuff like that, but we're going to go through a lot of different stuff like that. But let me ask you a question. What's the biggest difference that you see between Dynasty and regular redraft leagues?
I think it's going to sound weird, but the illusion of what type of team you think you are. So everyone has their own opinion of their own players, their own team, or anything like that. Not everybody's going to be a contender. Yeah. Not everybody's going to be rebuilding. But are you able to have that true, honest conversation with yourself as, what is my team?
Yeah.
Right now. I'd say that both of us are in the contender spot. I have a little bit older running backs. I've got a little bit older quarterbacks, but younger receivers. We were in the final four last year, so I think we can come back, still be relevant, and still contend. So I think we're maybe a year or two from starting the rebuild.
Yeah.
But I think that's the, I mean, for me, that I feel like that's the key is, can you be honest with yourself with what type of team you are?
I'm gonna throw this out there too, and only because I've been noticing it happening in multiple leagues right now, and obviously, I won't call people out or anything like that, but but I see it so much. It's like, do not draft the people from your favorite team. Like, I'm not, if they're good, draft them. That's fine. Do not collect the entire team, because the day that team has a really bad day, you're gonna have an even worse day because you're not gonna win fantasy.
Yeah, that's like a double loss. Like your
Yeah,
fantasy team sucked. Your team just got blown out. All hope is lost.
there's somebody that collected all the San Francisco in my one league, and I'm like, that's gonna hurt. Like, it's cool he got CMC. It's cool he got Brock Purdy. It's cool he got Kittle. It's cool. Like, what happens when it's a 6-9 game against your division opponent?
You better
That's
hope that one of those guys score.
yeah. And
It's
you know
not
what?
like an
And
Ayuk or a
and,
Garindo.
and out of 3 people, you're talking about 1 touchdown.
That's tough.
Yeah,
You better hope
it's
you
really
don't have too much money in that league.
no. So
Like
I
if
mean,
it's just a fun league, like I get it. You want to have your guys, it's your favorite players or whatever. But if
yeah,
you got like some money and some cash on the line, like nah, you gotta be smart with the way you build your team.
yeah, absolutely. But if you would like, sir, we can jump into
Boogie on down to the NFC West.
we're gonna
Yeah,
see. So we are going
and that'd be
to
cool.
Yep. So first of all, what do you think about this? What do you think about the NFC West?
I think it's a division with a lot of potential. I think Arizona got better. Seattle, maybe. There's a lot of moving parts with that, so time will tell. I think the Rams are pretty dangerous. I mean, with Sean McVay and Stafford, and you add Devontae Adams. I mean, that's pretty dangerous over there. And the Niners, you can't help but go back to like the median for them.
Yeah.
So typically they have good years, they have a bad year, and they're back up again. So now that they got the Purdy deal done, I think they'll be better as well. So I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Niners. I think they will be improved, but I like this division to be sneaky, really, really good.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel?
I feel like they always give themselves a challenge every time. It doesn't, we said this year the AFC West is going to be very, very hard to figure out, and I think the NFC West is going to be just the same. 1-1 against each team. You know what I mean? This is an easy thing to do here. We'll get through it all, but I mean, like, an overview, like Seattle just got a quarterback that did great in another place, and they just upgraded their wide receivers, and you know what I mean? Like, they have a lot of talent. They made some draft picks, and I mean, they all did, but I mean,
that's debatable though with the Seahawks because you
mm-hmm.
trade DK and Metcalf for Cooper Kupp. You take Geno Smith for Sam Darnold. Like, we don't know how it's going to work out.
No, we have no idea. I see JSN and Cooper Kupp as a very, very dynamic 1-2 threat.
Yeah, they play very similar roles though too. They're both kind of slot merchants. I know JSN, he can play on the outside as well. Same with Kupp, but I think JSN's a more dynamic athlete at this point.
Absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see where they roll with that, and the Rams always just seem to find talent, to get on that team. So you can never count them out at any given point. Stafford can still sling it, and put the ball where it's got to be with whomever is on the field, which is amazing.
Yeah, he peppers his guys, man.
Does
Like, was it Cup and Nakua? They've been fantasy relevant last a couple of years because Stafford. He knows how
yeah.
to get the ball to his guys.
Yeah, he's not holding on to it for longer than he has to, and that's that's very very important for a QB. And he's a veteran. He's been around. You know what I mean? As soon as he left Detroit, that's when he won a Super Bowl. Let's be honest here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he's no slouch. Not saying that Goff is either, but like you've seen it happen. You've seen the numbers that he's produced in Detroit, and as soon as he got into a team that had a head coach that I don't want to say just believed in him, but knew like, hey, we're gonna get you some weapons, and we're gonna have at that time a defense, So,
No.
But yeah, I mean, like, there's so many different ways of looking at this, and I feel like I don't want to say it like this, but I feel like the San Francisco 49ers are a very like team. I don't mean it like that because they're contenders, but they're so boring. They're so basic. But
You're calling a Kyle Shanahan team basic?
they are. They run the ball. Like I'm not saying they don't do it well. They do great. You know what I mean? They run the ball. They win
Well,
games.
I love the run game, so I guess that's very different.
I'm not even saying that. I'm not saying I'm against it, but I don't want to say lack of trick plays or anything like that, but you know what I mean? Like it's, what you're going to get when you face it. You just got to toughen up and beat them. If you can beat them, you're tougher than that team. That's pretty much what it is, but you know what he's going to do.
Yeah. I think if Purdy's weapons are healthier this year, like I don't know how it is with Ayuk, and I don't know how he's going to be starting training camp or whatnot, but if his guys can get healthy this year, I think he can hit some more big plays. Because that's what's kind of been his downfall. Like when he first came out as a rookie, I mean, he was hitting big play after big play after big play.
Yeah.
Right? Getting the ball down the field, getting it to his playmakers. Over his last couple of years, I feel like it's been more of a dink and dunk kind of offense because the defense has been taking away those big plays. But it also has to do with a lot of the health. I mean, his top receiver last year was what, Jawan Jennings?
I mean, after injury, yeah.
Right. So it's like, that's kind of tough. I think any team would struggle with that.
Yeah.
No Jawan Jennings slander either.
No, I've been hearing weird stuff in fantasy about he's going to be a real sneaky. They're not a passing offense. They're a run first offense.
Yeah, that's right. So CMC, he's coming back. He's coming back from the grave.
So I don't want to pick a wide receiver 3 in a run first offense. Like that's not sexy to me. That's not gonna get me the chip.
No, I mean I think for the Niners, I think you're looking at Purdy, CMC, and then Kittle. Those are your big 3 coming out of that. But probably also San Francisco defense too. I think that'll help get you some points too.
That's a sleeper right there. How they drafted this year, and what they traded for, and who they signed, that's a sleeper.
Well, yeah, and if Bosa can stay healthy, I mean he's a monster when he's out there, and he hasn't been able to stay healthy these last couple of years.
More like Nosa.
All right, let's move on. All right,
let's go to the Arizona Cardinals. What do you say?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to Arizona.
All right. Let's start off with the GM here, Monty Ossenfort, and coaching staff, head coach Jonathan Gannon, offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, defense coordinator Nick Rallis, and special teams Jeff Rogers. Okay, so I'm not too familiar with these guys. I'm more of the East Coast kind of, know more about the East Coast teams. But do you really know much about them? I've heard of some of these guys. I don't know if any of them. I don't think any of them have been a head coach.
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah. So I mean, look, it's a new generation of different coaches and stuff and people coming in. So, but not a big deal. We'll go through the special teams real quick. Place kicker Chad Ryland, and the punter Blake
Gillikin.
And long snapper Aaron Brewer, all caps. Yeah, see? See?
Mhm.
You see? It's not just me, dude.
Yeah, no, it's all
And they got
facts.
kick returner DJ Dallas that actually came from Seattle, and Greg Dortch, who's been there for a while. Greg Dortch has been there for a
Yes, he
while.
is. Yes, he is a very very small fella,
Yep.
but he is mighty.
He is mighty. He's pretty slick when he gets to running,
You
but
never want to get torched.
no, you really don't want to get torched. Oh God.
All right, you want to start with the defense?
Yeah, let me
All right, I'll start with the defense. So you pulling it up? Cool.
Yep, gotcha.
So they brought in some talent on this defensive line. So they brought in the veteran Calais Campbell, came back home. I believe he was
Old
drafted by Arizona
old
back
man
in
Campbell, baby.
back in like 06, 07,
How
something like
how
that.
how old do you think he is?
He's got to be like, what, 38, 39? The question is, who's older, you or him?
I'm older by a year and 3 weeks.
Dang. Yeah, so 38.
He was on Arizona, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Atlanta, Miami, Arizona.
Yep, he came back home. He wanted to finish
Yeesh.
his career
Well played.
started, but
All right, good.
he's still a dominant force. He's played great. He
Yep.
was one of the veteran leaders on that Miami defense last year.
Mm-hmm.
So you love to bring him in for their 3-4 defense. You got Dalvin Tomlinson coming over from Cleveland, big nose tackle, going to help out there too. And then they took Walter Nolan III in the first round of this year's draft to fit that other end spot. But then behind them, you have their other first rounder, Darius Robinson from last year, backing up Calais Campbell, Bilal Nichols at the nose tackle spot, Justin Jones at the right defensive end spot. You got some more depth. You got LJ Collier from Seattle. I believe he was a first round pick for them, was he not? Out of TCU, Mr. Collier.
He was chart. 5th-year senior, started Texas, 6 sacks, 218.
Yeah. I think he was a first round pick. But it also got PJ Mustafar at nose tackle, Dante Stills at right defensive end. Then you got Anthony Goodlow at the left defensive end spot. And you got some undrafted rookies with Elijah Simmons and Patrick Jenkins.
He was a first-round pick, by the way. Sorry.
Knew it.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, that's a stacked defensive line. So Arizona's defense just instantly got better with their free agent signings and their first round pick. Walter Nolan was a beast at Ole Miss.
And I'm gonna start backwards here with the linebackers. Okay, you got some camp bodies in here from you got the outside linebackers, the Will linebackers, and Mike linebackers. And I'm gonna start with the outside linebackers here. And we're going to start from the depth chart in the back real quick, just so we have an idea. But it's basically
before you start that though, when the 3-4, the two outside linebackers, those are going to be more of your pass rush specialists, right?
Yeah. Yes. So we got Elliott Brown, who's kind of like a body camp right now, and Jordan Birch, who was drafted in the 3rd round of 2025. And you also have a former first rounder from 2021, Zaven Collins, and the trade from Denver with Baron Browning. So I like this depth right here in the outside linebacker position, and especially Baron Browning being here. And then you have the Will linebackers. I'm going to start from the back. So J.J. Russell coming from Tampa Bay, which, again, I've said it before, anybody coming from Tampa Bay is going to be well coached already. So and then they got right in front of him, you got another guy that came from Tampa Bay a year beforehand or so, and that's V Jones, and then you have Owen Papo, and then your front line is Akeem Davis Gaithers from Cincinnati this year. So those two, Baron Browning and Akeem Gaithers, is also going to be matched up with Mac Wilson Sr., who also came from New England at one point, right? And behind him right in the middle linebacker position is Simon Cody, who's drafted in the 4th, and then you have Mykal Walker from Washington. He was over there last year. So they have a lot of depth here. I have a feeling that some of these guys are going to be pushed or cut, I should say. But this is the other part, is the other outside linebacker, the right side outside linebacker is Josh Sweat from Philly. Okay, and even behind him, you have a second rounder, BJ Ojulari, and Xavier Thomas. The farther back you go, and then Benton Whitley, who was from New York Giants. These guys are they might be cut, but the depth in here is what I'm looking at. Okay, they really have some good depth and some new people coming in. So looking at Jordan Birch, looking at Cody Simon, and also looking at Josh Sweat, Akeem Davis Gaithers. Like, dude, these are guys who have played and have high motors. Like Cody Simon and Jordan Birch, obviously in the depth chart, and that's okay. But Mykal Walker, even though he's third in the depth chart here in the middle linebacker, he played last year for Washington. So they have a lot of active people in this linebacker group.
Yeah, and Cody Simon, he played at Ohio State, so they have a great program up there. They crank out a lot of just NFL talent.
He's a hard hitter.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you've got a really good linebacker room, and you've got a really fast and athletic linebacker room here. Pass rushers, super athletic. Middle linebackers, super athletic. So I think it gives you a lot of flexibility to do a lot of different things on that defense. With a veteran defensive line, some speedy, fast, athletic linebackers. I mean, I think Arizona could be a sneaky defense this year, especially with Gannon being a defensive background in terms of helping the Eagles get to that defense or Super Bowl a few years ago.
Yeah. You want to take us on to the cornerbacks and safeties?
Yes, sir. I'll start with the nickelback. You have Jaden Davis, Darren Hall, Catrell Clark, and Garrett Williams at the nickelback. At the right cornerback spot, you got Elijah Jones, Denzel Burke, who's drafted in the 5th round, also out of Ohio State, Max Melton. Then at safety, you have Keaton Crawford, picked in the 7th round, Joey Blunt, and Buda Baker at the free safety spot. At strong safety, you got Jamie Robinson coming over from Carolina, Dadrion Taylor Demerson, drafted in the 4th round last year. I believe he played at Texas Tech, I want to say. And then you have also Jalen Thompson at the starting spot. Then at the left cornerback, you have Iko Boy-Doe, Jalen Jones, Starling Thomas V, and then second round still, Will Johnson, who I think fell due to medical concerns, the Michigan corner. But I think it's a younger, unproven secondary outside of Buda Baker.
Yeah.
But I like the makeup overall of their defense.
Yeah, a lot of these guys were well, I mean, it's 2023, 2024, and then you got the free safety. Buda Baker could pretty much tell people, hey, this is where you got to be, you know. You got the other guys from this past year that Denzel Burke, that are probably going to be sitting there and learning a lot. Keaton Crawford, sitting back there and doing what you got to do. So you do have some depth in there. Will Johnson, he's got that those knee problems, and we'll see how that works out. But I mean, if they can get this without having to waste any more money with it, then look, they got people behind him. You know what I mean? They have a Cowboy Doe and Jalen Jones from Chicago. So I know it says that Starling Thomas, the 4th, or I'm sorry, the 5th. Is right there from Detroit, who's probably meaning that he's very well coached in that cornerback position. But I like the depth in it. It is young, and we'll see exactly how tough this defensive coordinator can make them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's move on to the offense. You want to go, or you want me to go?
I'll go start with the receivers.
Sure.
So with the left receiver, we got Zay Jones. Receiver coming over from Jacksonville. I believe he was suspended last year. I think he's back in the fold this year. You got Simi Fioco, and then Tejan Palmer. At the right receiver, you have some guy named Marvin Harrison Jr. Have you ever heard of him?
I have not recognized the face this year because apparently the dude just got jacked. So
Yeah, he's got huge biceps. It looks like he only worked on arms all off season. So hopefully that makes it better catching and getting open for Kyler Murray. But you also behind him, you got Xavier Weaver, Tristan Jackson, and Bryson Green. And the slot receiver, you got Michael Wilson. Big fan of Michael Wilson. He came out of Stanford a few years ago. Big body, great hands. Not a great athlete, but he's quick. You got Greg Dortch, Andre Baselia, and Quez Watkins at round out the receiving room. So I like a lot of the guys that are in there. You got a bunch of kind of unproven guys, but you got some veteran apprentices, and you're hoping that Marvin Harrison Jr. can take that sophomore leap this year, kind of lead that receiver room.
Fair enough. Yeah, they got really good wide receiver depth, man. That's what I like right now about them.
Yeah, and I think they took a flyer on that Quez Watkins. He's fourth on the depth chart right now, but he can fly. He used to be with the Eagles. I think that pairs well with Kyler's scramble ability. He's a really fast player.
Yeah, right. I'm going to move over to the offensive line here. So you got Paris Johnson Jr. He was from Ohio State, and a backup with Kelvin Beachum. That's a pretty good. I'm not going to lie, that's really good depth and for left tackle.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you also signed some other guys, Curtis McClendon and Valentin Sen. So I like, again, a couple body guys in there for camp, but those two first guys for the left tackle, I really like. You got Evan Brown, that came from Seattle a few years ago, and then you made a draft pick in the 6th round, Hayden Connor, to learn the left tackle position, and you signed somebody from Chicago, Jake Curran, also in that depth of the left guard. Going into the center, you got Halty Frohold and John Gaines II, and also Sincere Hainsworth, who was signed this year as depth as well. So you got a couple guys on that line. You're starting with Paris Johnson Jr. You got Evan Brown that came from Seattle. You have Halte Frohold from Cleveland, and then you got going into the right guard Isaiah Adams, who was a 3rd round pick, and right behind him you got again another guy from Tampa Bay, Royce Newman, and then Nick Leverett. Okay, so a lot of these guys are probably going to get cut or to the practice squad, these 3rd or 4th guys, but this is pretty good depth right here. And then you have Jonah Williams from Cincinnati, who's been there for a little bit, and then you have your 5th round pick in Christian Jones and Josh Fryer, who is just, again, these are camp bodies. Jeremiah Byers. Some of these guys are going to get cut. You never know who's going to get hurt. And I'm gonna hit one just because I love the guy so much. I'm gonna hit.
Go ahead. Tight end is yours.
Man, I appreciate it. Trey McBride, the nasty man himself. In the 2nd round, he was taken, and you got Tip Reitman, Elijah Higgins from Miami, Josiah DeGara, and Travis Vokolik. Okay, he was from Baltimore, but Oscar Cardenas. Okay, these are all guys that are in here, and you're really going to have to fight for that 2nd spot because nobody's taking it from Trey McBride. Okay, so I think that it probably will be Elijah Higgins, to be honest with you. I think he's going to stay over there. They'll probably grab 3 guys and keep them in there. But other than that, Trey McBride can do it all. He's not just a guy that can catch, but he's a guy that can block too. You need him to do something. You need him to stick in there and do the dirty work.
He can do the dirty work for sure.
You need him to get 100 yards. Guess what? He's getting 100 yards. So
just the touchdowns he's a little allergic to.
That's the only thing, my friend. So why don't you finish this up with the general and the train going through the tunnel?
Yeah, absolutely. Just one quick note on Elijah Higgins. He was actually a college receiver that converted to tight end.
There you go.
He's got the hands. I don't know if his blocking's fully there, but I'll start with the running back. We'll save the QB position for last. But you got James Conner as the lead back. They took Trey Benson, in the 3rd round in last year's draft. You got Amari DiMarcado, DJ Dallas, Michael Carter, and then Bam Knight to round out the running back room. So pretty solid depth. I think Connor, he continues to be effective despite his advancing age, and he's not a great athlete, but really good player. And then at the quarterback position, you have Kyler Murray, Jacoby Brissett, and Clayton Tune. Big Kyler fan. I think despite his vertical challenges, he's got a great arm. He's a great athlete. It'd be really cool to see him bounce back this year. I think he's got a good range of weapons, solid offensive line. I think the Arizona is going to make some noise this year. I think they'll be a lot more improved than they have been the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I'm looking at the depth chart here. They actually have some decent names in the running back room. Actually, Michael Carter and Bam Knight were both on the Jets, and then you have DJ Dallas that was on Seattle. He wasn't bad when he was there, but it's again they rotated.
He's more
a
of a
lot.
Special team 3rd down back kind of guy.
Yeah, he was called on one time, and he did pretty good. But that's when the entire running back room was depleted.
Yeah.
DiMarcado and Trey Benson. I'm still waiting to see what Trey Benson can do. But yeah, James Conner's still plugging away with 100-yard games, so good for him. And I do like this Jacoby Brissett behind Kyler Murray. It still gives him the chance to win games even if Kyler's out. All right, you want to move on to Los Angeles?
Let's do it.
Do it, baby. All
the
right.
Rams.
You start us off, baby.
All right. So you got GM Les Snead, head coach Sean McVay, offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur, defensive coordinator Chris Shula, and special teams coach Chase Blackburn. So I believe the GM and head coach, they've been together for quite some time. Veteran type guys, probably tops of the league. I think they do a lot of great deals on draft day. They do a really good job of running the organization and some deals and whatnot. So pretty good starting point there.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add with the coaching staff or GM?
I mean, not so much. I think Sean McVay and GM are on the right page. He took Michael LaFleur, knowing that he could utilize him, and Chris Shula. I know of his work and such like that, but I never followed him like that. But It's Sean McVay, man. Sean McVay can make anything happen on offense and defense. He's very, very schematic, and he just plays chess on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll get into the special teams. You have the punter Ethan Evans, drafted in the 7th round in 2023. You got the kicker Joshua Carty, drafted in the 6th round, also out of Stanford. We talked about Stanford quite a bit. Long snapper Alex Ward, not in all caps.
Ah,
wonder
what that means.
Not sure. And then with your kick returner, you got Jordan Whittington, Blake Corum, Xavier Smith. Punt return, you got Xavier Smith, Britton Covey over from Philadelphia, and then Kyron Williams. And then also you got Ethan Evans as the holder and kickoff guy for the specials or for the Rams.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna go right into this defensive line here. Okay, you got Braden Fisk, who was a 2nd rounder, and behind him you got DeJuan Johnson, 7th round pick in the 2023 draft, and then you have Laurel Murchison. Sorry, he was from Tennessee. So you got Braden Fisk right next to Poona Ford, that came from the Chargers, actually. If I seem to be,
he was also in Seattle.
I want to see how. Yeah, he is over 300 pounds. I had a feeling. Yeah, he's a good sized body in there.
Yeah.
I knew he wasn't a small fella, but 310, coming from the Chargers. Then you got Tyler Davis behind him with Bill Norton behind him and DeJoun Terry. So these might be some, especially for nose tackles, some body camps again, but. You have him, then you have another 3rd rounder in Kobe Turner as a defensive tackle, and then they just drafted another guy, Ty Hamilton, coming out of where was he from? Ohio State. That's why the name rings a bell. So again, big trench draft is what it was, and they just keep on filling those needs, those holes. And Jack Heflin is also another body guy, and Zacarias Hawthorne is on there. So they're going to be working on a lot of guys in the summer here and seeing who's going to be sticking around and who's going to be making it happen. You want to bring us into the linebacker area?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with the left outside linebacker. You got Josh Percy, undrafted free agent, Keir Thomas, Josiah Stewart, drafted in the 3rd round out of Michigan, one of those undersized edge rusher type guys. And you have Byron Young, who's drafted in the 3rd round in 2023. At the left inside linebacker, you got Sean Dolak, undrafted free agent. You also have Elias Neal, Nate Landman coming over from Atlanta, and then Troy Reeder. And then the right inside linebacker, we're looking at Tony Fields II, Chris Paul Jr., drafted in the 5th round of this year, and then Omar Spates, who was an undrafted free agent last year out of LSU, took on that starting role last year, so pretty good player there. Mm-hmm. And at the right outside linebacker, you got Jamil Muhammad, Nick Hampton, Brennan Jackson, and then Jared Verse, who's drafted in the 1st round last year. So
pretty hell of a time last year he had.
Oh yeah, pretty great pass rushers there. Really smart players. Really pretty athletic there. So I think you got a lot of power with those edge rushers. They can also kind of convert some of that power to speed. But I like the linebacker room with the Rams. I think they're going to have a pretty good defense this year.
Let me jump into these corners. Start from the back, work my way up. So your left corner, you got AJ Green, not the AJ Green you guys think, but also Cam Lampkin, who actually had I believe he played a bit last year, to be honest. Let me say he did play last year because I remember him making a couple plays, nothing crazy, but smaller guy, 5'10", 176. But he made a couple plays last year. People get hurt. And then Kobe Durant, and your starting left is from Jacksonville, Darius Williams. And you want to go to your right cornerback. It's going to be from Washington a couple years back, Emmanuel Forbes Jr., Darian Kendrick, and then your starting right quarterback is going to be Akello Weatherspoon from Pittsburgh. And then your nickel is starting again in the back from Cleveland, Sean Jolly, Charles Woods, Josh Wallace, and then your starter, who was a 6th round pick in 2022, Quentin Lake. And I'm going to go right into the safeties over here. You got from Washington, Cam Curl, his backup, Jalen McAuliffe, and Malik Dixon Williams. Also, who made a ton of plays last year. A 2024 3rd-round draft pick, Cameron Kitchens. He was all over the field last year. He still needs room to grow, but he was making some damn good plays last year. And behind him is Tanner Engel and Nate Val Carcel. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll take that.
He's like, yeah, it doesn't look like that's what it says.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I with the Rams, I like their safeties a lot. Mm-hmm. Cornerback room, I feel like it kind of has a little bit left to be desired there.
Yeah. They're kind of smaller guys too.
Yeah. Like Darius Williams, he had a good year with the Rams, left, got a payday at Jacksonville, and then came back. So, and he's what, 5'9"? I think he's also 32 years old.
I think they're relying on that front line and those middle linebackers to make plays, you know.
Yeah, it's just their secondary. I think it could get picked apart, but I do like their safeties quite a bit.
All right, you want to take us into the offense?
Let's do it. So I'll start with the receivers. At left wide receiver, you got True Edwards, undrafted free agent. Jordan Whittington, 6th-round pick out of Texas in 2024. And then the big free agent signing, Devontae Adams, coming over from your New York Jets.
Yes, sir.
And then at the right receiver spot, you got Mario Williams, who I believe was at USC and Tulane. Undrafted free agent there. Quintez Cephas, 7th-round pick, Konata Mumpfield. And then you have the great Puka Nacua, Mr. 5th-round pick that broke the record and held it for 1 year. And then in the slot receiver, undrafted free agent, you got Brennan Presley, Drake Stoops, Britton Covey, Xavier Smith, and then Tutu Atwell. So pretty good receiving core.
Mm-hmm.
Two really big number ones right there, in Adams and Nacua.
Yeah, you definitely do. And Tutu Atwell is nothing to sneeze at in that slot.
Nah, he's just a smaller guy, more of a speed guy. So
he's nice and quick,
Oh yeah.
Moving into the offensive line, you got Alaric Jackson, and I'm going to go into the depth with him. So Alaric Jackson starting that left tackle spot off, and then you have from Minnesota, who's this is awesome, David Kessenberry, okay, and AJ, huh?
Quisenberry.
It's a quesadilla.
Yeah. Quesadilla.
Make yourself a gosh dang quesadilla, Napoleon. And AJ Arcuri. Okay, so pretty good depth here. I think going over to the left guard area, Steve Avila, 2nd-round pick in the 2023, Justin Dedish, and Wyatt Bowles. These are going to be some
related
guys.
To Todd?
He could be. You never know. You never know. And then another Lampkin here, Willie Lampkin, trying out for the center position.
He's that's the undersized center that also got some snaps at guard from North Carolina. He's like 5'11".
5'11", 290. Yeah, that's definitely undersized.
He had a pretty decent Senior Bowl. I was kind of surprised that he didn't get drafted, at least like a late round pick. But
you're giving him a chance right now.
Yeah.
Bo Limmer, and then you have your starter from Chicago, Coleman Shelton. Okay, and then working your way back up, Ben Dooley into the right guard position in the depth, KT Leviston, and then you have Kevin Dotson from Pittsburgh, which was a trade at one point. And going from your right tackle, starting in the trenches here, you got Trey Wettig, Warren McClendon Jr., and then your starter, Rob Havenstein. These guys are going to be the protector here. Okay, they're always going to fight to see who can protect their main guy the most, and not for nothing. McVay always finds a way to find the best guys to stick there and to do their job correctly. And going into the tight end area here, you got Tyler Higbee, who I know it still says he's the starter, but the dude is 32 years old. And in my opinion, you signed Colby Parkinson for a reason. That was a 3-year deal from Seattle, and then you just drafted Terrence Ferguson. So I think Terrence Ferguson is not going to start exactly, but I think by the end of the season, he's going to be the starter, even though he is number 3 in the depth chart here. And you have Davis Allen, Anthony Torres, and Mark Redmond here as camp bodies, and see how that goes. So you want to finish this off with the conductor and the train?
Yeah. So at running back, I'll start from the back. You have undrafted free agent Jordan Waters. You also have Cody Schrader, came over from San Francisco. I believe I think he played at Missouri, I want to say. Then you have Ronnie Rivers, the 4th-round pick in this year's draft, Jarquez Hunter, who I believe is the fantasy darling right now. Everyone has all this buzz with him because Big Bay loves him. Then you have 3rd-round pick from last year, Blake Corum, who was also his darling last year, who got no playing time. Because you have the starter, Kyron Williams, who McVay just cannot quit. That's his guy.
Yep.
So then we'll round out with the conductor, as you would say. 3rd string, you have Stetson Bennett, the 4th-round pick in 2023. Jimmy Garoppolo as the backup, and then old man Matthew Stafford as the general.
I like that depth.
It's not bad, right?
No, look. Stetson is older. People don't really realize that he's actually
Mhm.
he's 27 years old. You know what I mean? He was becoming like a doctor twice or something in college. But
He dealt with some issues too, so I'm glad he's back
yeah,
with the team.
and this is the thing. He was actually pretty good with. He wasn't trying to be a hero over there. He was just trying to get rid of the ball and do what he had to do. You know. Yeah, I think it's better to have somebody that's older but not old. You know what I mean? He understands how the system's supposed to go, and Jimmy Garoppolo is the same way. Like
So
the
you're
good,
saying you want an old soul
yeah,
rather than an old person?
yes.
Okay,
I'm an old soul kind of guy, my friend.
fair enough.
Speaking of old souls, let's go back to San Francisco.
As you would say, the boring team.
Yes, boring team that's going to have a lot of highlights on this, especially on that
Yeah.
defense. Look how
Mm-hmm.
colorful it looks, like freaking Christmas lights. All right, I'll bring it in here. John Lynch, GM, Kyle Shanahan, Clay Kubiak, Robert Sala, Brant Boyer. So obviously we know John Lynch. Him and Kyle Shanahan are making something special over there. Clay Kubiak came from your side of the area, right?
No, that's we got the other Kubiak.
Dennis, that's right.
No,
Um,
we got no, it'll come to me. He's in Seattle now, so we'll get to him when we get to Seattle.
oh, okay, I got you.
It's not Clay.
But Robert Sala coming from the Jets and Brant Boyer coming from the Jets special teams. So
It's
um,
Clint. It's Clint Kubiak. Sorry, it just came
Clint,
to me.
there you go. Knew he
Yeah.
started with a cl. Um, hey, the punter Thomas Morstead also coming from the Jets.
And former Saint.
And former Saint. There you go.
Yeah.
He was
So
on every team.
yes, close
Jake
enough.
Moody right now, the place kicker, battling it out with Craig Joseph again from the Jets.
Wow, go figure.
Long snapper John Weeks, all
All caps.
caps.
We're back.
We're back, baby. And then you got Jacob Cowing, punt returner, and Patrick Taylor Jr. as a kick returner. But backups for the punt returner is Ricky Pearsall, and backup for the kick return is Isaac Garendo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want me to start this one? You want to switch it up? Do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'll start, but I'm gonna start with the back end of the defense.
All
How
right, let's
about
do
that?
it. Yeah.
So at the nickelback spot, start from the back, you got undrafted free agent Derek Canteen, Siren Neal coming over from Miami, third round pick in this year's draft, Upton Stout, and then Diamorde D. Lenore at starting nickelback there. And then at the right cornerback spot, you have Dallas Flowers, undrafted or looks like street free agent, Darrell Luter Jr., fifth round pick in 2023, and then Renardo Green, a second rounder in last year's draft. At the left cornerback spot, you have Jacob Robinson, undrafted free agent, Chase Lucas coming over from Detroit, Trey Avery coming over from Tennessee, and then Trey Brown coming over from Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So at the free safety spot, Jalen Mahoney, Marquise Sigel, a fifth round pick in this year's draft, Jason Pinnock coming over from New York Giants, and then Malik Mustafa, fourth round pick in last year's draft. And then with the strong safety, we have George Odom coming over from Indianapolis, Richie Grant coming over from Atlanta, and then Jair Brown, third round pick in 2023. So again,
Wings.
secondary that kind of leaves some stuff to be desired there.
Yeah. I'm going to take it right into the Sam linebackers here. So you got starting in the back end of
The
with Curtis
linebackers.
Rob. What?
Yeah.
What? Come again?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Curtis Robinson, Jalen Graham, and then the starter Nick Martin, who was drafted this year, third round in 2025. And And then you have Blanton Stone from the middle linebacker, Tatum Bethune, and then Fred Warner, as we all know from the third round
Elite.
from the 18. Yep. Uh, middle linebacker area. So he's going to be starting. He's going to be teaching this kid Nick Martin how to do things, and this is what Robert Saleh does. And again, they took in another guy, Chaz Surratt, who knows this system from the New York Jets. They signed Luke Gifford from Tennessee and D. Winters from 2023 sixth rounder. A lot of these guys weren't always linebackers either. So he converts linebackers. He converts safeties into linebackers too. So that's what I really like about what they do here. But I'm just going to keep going. Is that cool?
Yeah, go ahead. Do your thing.
All right. We're going to start with the right defensive end, which is Taron Jackson, Sam Okuyononu. Whoa.
Elite.
Okuyononu. That's a heck of a name.
No.
Bryce Huff got traded over there. Again, somebody else who already knew that. He's going to be great, the pass rush over there. And they drafted Mikael Williams in the 2025 first round. And then going up, I'm going to do this not backwards. They drafted in their second round Alfred Collins, another guy right on the offensive or defensive line. This is where it's happening right now. First, second, and third round, if you look at it. First round pick, Mikael Williams. Second round pick, Alfred Collins, defensive tackle. Third round pick, Nick Martin, Sam linebacker. Third round.
And Upton Stout in third round.
Yeah, they're not mess. Yeah, and then I'll do this real quick, and I'll get right back on course. Fourth round pick, C.J. West, another defensive tackle. Fifth round pick, free safety, Marquez Siegel. Like, you see what they're doing here. You know what I mean? But I digress, and I will go right back into the right defensive tackle. Alfred Collins, okay? He goes there. Kevin Givens is his backup. Evan Anderson is in a depth chart in the third, and Sebastian Valdez is pretty much a body for now. Going to the left defensive tackle, I'm going to start from the back. Kalia Davis, C.J. West, I just talked about him, fourth round pick. And then you have Jordan Elliott from Cleveland, who's been there. And I'm going to start from the back again with the left side defensive end, Jonathan Garvin, Robert Beal Jr. from Carolina, Yetur Gross-Matos, and then, of course, first-round pick, Nick Bosa in 2019. Look at that line. Okay, this line is going to get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Nick Bosa, Jordan Elliott, Alfred Collins, Mikael Williams, Fred Warner sitting there, Nick Martin sitting there, D. Winters sitting there. This is going to be a very tough defensive line. And they
I think that they're gonna bounce back in a big way. I mean, you invested a lot of resources in that defense, so you brought Saleh back. I like the prospects of this defense. I think they're going to bounce back in a big way. They'll be formidable, and they get back to playing their kind of brand of football that they like to play.
Mm-hmm. All right. You want to take us into the offense?
Let's do it. So I'll start with receiver, as always. Malik Knowles is street free agent at the left wide receiver spot. Isaiah Hodgins, same thing. And then Demarcus Robinson coming over from the Rams, right behind Brandon Ayuk, who we talked about earlier. I'm not sure what his health looks like this year. I don't know if he's going to start on the pup or whatnot, but we shall see. At the right receiver spot, you have Tariq Owens, which I believe is T.O.'s son. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. Then you have Isaiah Neyor, undrafted free agent. Jordan Watkins was drafted in the fourth round, I believe, out of Ole Miss. And Ricky Pearsall, the first-round pick from last year out of Florida. So like to see what he can do this year. And then at the slot receiver, you have Russell Gage Jr., Junior Burgeon, who was drafted in the seventh round, Jacob Cowing, who was drafted in the fourth round of last year, and then Jawan Jennings, who kind of broke out last year. Yeah. He had that huge fantasy day.
Yeah.
I'm sure it helped a lot of people out there, but pretty decent receiver room. I like the weapons that they got for Purdy back there.
True story.
They're pretty good.
Pretty good. I like it. All right, let's jump to the offensive line, starting with the depth into the left tackle position. So Sebastian Gutierrez, Andre Dillard from Green Bay, and then you have your starter. It came from Washington a while back, Trent Williams. And then going to your left guard, you have Zach Johnson. You have a seventh round pick in Connor Colby, Spencer Burford, from 2022 draft, fourth round pick, and then you have a Jacksonville Jaguars Ben Barch, and then you have three people starting from the back at center: Drake Nugent, Matt Hennessy, Jake Brendel as your starter, and then you have your right guard Drew Moss, Nick Zagelj, and then Dominic Puny, who was a third round in the 2024 from last year. Your right tackles, Isaac Alarcon, Austin Pleasance, and Colton McKivitz. So your starting line there is Trent Williams, Ben Barch, Jake Brendel, Dominic Puny, Colton McKivitz. Okay, and of course, your
Wait,
tight ends.
before we move on,
Yes.
I have a little small note about Jake Brindell.
Shoot.
So he's actually from Plano, Texas. So he actually played at Plano East. So that is the high school that my wife went to.
Oh,
It was
wow.
my rival because I went to school in Plano as well, but I went to Plano Senior, not Plano East.
So you don't like him?
Little fun fact. No, it's cool. I was supposed to go to East, but the zoning changed, so I ended up having to go to Plano Senior. So it's just a small little.
Do you want to blame
tidbit.
him? We can do that.
No, I mean we're close to the same age. I'm about a year older than him, so we probably went to school close to the same time.
You say the word, man.
Hey,
Take care of it.
Brendel's cool with me, man.
All right.
He's cool.
Fair enough.
Squirrely. All right, talk about your tight ends.
And then we're going to talk about George Kittle, the guy that just keeps on giving since 2017. 8 years in the league, fifth round draft pick. And then you got Luke Farrell from Jacksonville, Ross Dwelly, Braden Willis, Jake Tongues, Mason Pline.
Ooh, I hope Tongues makes the team.
I just because, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a great
I
name.
hear you.
It's a great name.
Like, it would be really cool if Dwelly and Tongues were sitting right next to each other.
Yeah.
Just because. Yeah, just because
or Farrell Tongues.
Farrell Tongues, yes.
Yeah.
Or Pline
Or
Tongues, because nobody
Kittle
knows
Tongues.
that. Kittle Tongues.
Right.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. I'm sure he's a great athlete.
There's a lot of double T's, double R's, double L's, double L's again.
Yeah, there's a lot of
them.
the tight room.
Okay. All right, take us away with your QBs and your running backs, baby.
All right, I'm actually going to start with the fullback.
Yes.
I will start with the fullback, probably the best fullback in the league since he's been in the league, since he started with Baltimore and he came over to San Francisco, Mr. Kyle Juszczyk. All right, moving on. Now, the running back room, we got
he's just a monster, that's all.
He's great. He's great.
Yeah.
But we can't give him too much time.
What are you going to
do? So, in the running back room, you got Corey Kenner, undrafted free agent, Israel Abanikanda, came over from your New York Jets.
Yep, Abanikanda. Yep.
Sure. Yeah. Patrick Taylor Jr. came over from Green Bay. Fifth round pick, Jordan James. Isaac Garindo, who was a fourth round pick last year. And the big name, Christian McCaffrey. Hopefully coming back from his double Achilles tendonitis thing or whatever. I think he went to Germany, got new legs or something. I don't know. Yeah. But hopefully he comes back strong this year. I like McCaffrey. He's a good dude. Really good player.
He should switch his number to number 9.
9. No. All right. And we will start with the quarterback room. So you have Tanner Mordecai, who has been in the league for 1 year. He actually finished his career at Wisconsin, but he was a longtime starter for SMU. So a little fun fact there.
Cool.
They have Curtis Schwark, 7th round pick out of Indiana. Then you have Mac Jones coming over from Jacksonville, signing as a free agent there. And then the one and only Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, getting his payday, being the leader of the team. Congrats to him.
Yo,
That's
good
your
for him.
Niners.
Good for him. All right. So let's fly away with it in the NFC West and go to Seattle Seahawks.
All right. Seattle. This is
All right.
what Darvin's most recent team, right?
Yep, this is who's Darvin played for, I believe, not last. I think he was in the CFL, but yes. You want to start us off?
Yep. So we'll start with the GM, John Schneider, another longtime veteran GM there. You got head coach Mike McDonald going into his second year, coming up from Baltimore. Offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak coming over from the New Orleans Saints. The defensive coordinator Aiden Dirday, not sure. And special teams coach
It's Dirte.
Dirday. The special teams coach Jay Harbaugh. I believe he's related to the Harbaugh brothers.
Oh,
Pretty sure. I think he is.
I'll look that up.
But while you're doing that, I will get into the special teams. You have the punter Michael Dixon, Texas legend. It's a fifth-round pick in 2018. Jason Myers at the kicker spot. Long snapper Chris Stoll, who is not all caps. The holder is Michael Dixon. Kickoff specialist Jason Myers, who is in all caps. And then you have punt returner Torrey Horton, who was a fifth-round pick in this past draft, and Steven Sims coming over from Baltimore. And at the kick returner spot, you have Kenny McIntosh and Steven Sims. So, fun fact also, a few years ago in 2023, when we were at the Combine, we were going through the Indianapolis part, where the indoor part where you get to all the different places.
Yeah.
And Kenny McIntosh actually stopped me to ask me for directions on how to get to this place for one of his interviews.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. So shout out to Kenny.
Shout out to Kenny. Good job, Kenny. Jay Harbaugh is Jim Harbaugh's son.
See?
There you go.
That's pretty related.
That's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty. Put together there.
He's got a pops and uncle leading teams.
Yeah. Let's jump into the defense. I'm going to jump at this defensive line here.
Jump away.
I'm going to start from the back with the defensive end, J.R. Singleton, Mike Morris, and then you have Leonard Williams, who is your starter there. And
love Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard is great, man. He was great in the Jets. He was great in the Giants, and then he went right over to Seattle. He's still just doing everything the right way. So
yeah, really good player.
The nose tackle going in here, starting from the back, is Bubba Thomas, Quentin Bohanna, Jonathan Hankins from Dallas, and then Byron Murphy the second. So you got Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy the second right next to each other. And
Some
then
beef.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And with your defensive tackles, you got Anthony Campbell from Miami, Brandon Pilley, a 2025 fifth-round pick in Riley Mills, another trench guy here, and then Jerron Reed in your 2016 second-round pick. So you have a first-round pick in Leonard Williams, a first-round pick in Byron Murphy the second, and a second-round pick in Jerron Reed. So guys know what they're doing over there. So that's a big beefy line right there.
Absolutely. All right, I'll get started with the edge rushers. So I'll start with the left side. You got Jalen Gaines, undrafted free agent from this year's class. Jared Ivey, who's also an undrafted free agent. He's actually from Ole Miss. So it had some juice to that edge group. Tyreek Smith, who was a fifth-round pick in 2022. Derek Hall, who was a second-round pick in 2023. And then DeMarcus Lawrence coming over from Dallas.
There it is.
So that's some veteran leadership, some good pass rush moves there. On the right side, you got Connor O'Toole. Sounds like you. You also got Seth Coleman, both undrafted free agents in this year's class. Jamie Sheriff, Boye Mafe coming over in the second round of the 2022 draft. And then Usena Nuwasu coming over from the Chargers in that edge group. So pretty experienced, pretty talented guys there.
Yeah.
And then I'll get started with the middle linebackers. I'll just get started with the will linebacker. You have De'Eric Jackson, undrafted free agent this year's class. Drake Thomas coming over from Las Vegas. Tyrese Knight, who was drafted in the 4th round of last year, a little bit older rookie, played really well last year. Then you have Patrick O'Connell, Josh Ross coming over from Baltimore, and then Ernest Jones IV came over in a trade from Tennessee. So, pretty good linebacking core.
Not too bad, man. They and with that, they made a couple moves on the cornerbacks. And starting with the left cornerback, they have Asas Waxter, Shamar from your guy, Shamar Jean Charles from New Orleans. Jean Charles. Nehemia Pritchett, who was a 5th round pick last year. Josh Joby, and that's going to be your starter, Josh Joby, in the left side corner. And then right side corner, you have Zy Alexander, J.T. Woods, and Rick Woods. Rick Woolen, who would be a right side cornerback. So they added a couple guys here. They have 1, 2, 3 that are coming in, and then with your nickel starting from the back, you have Tyler Hall, Demarion Williams, and then Devon Witherspoon, who's been there for a while now.
I think it's interesting they have J.T. Woods at the right cornerback spot because when he came in the league, he was a safety for the Chargers. So,
who was the head coach over there at the time? You remember?
Brandon Staley.
I think I think you're right.
Yeah, he's the deep scorer for the Saints now. But you also got Zy Alexander, who's an undrafted free agent from LSU. So their defense hasn't been too great this last few years, but comes from a big time program.
And then going into the safety area, free safety, you have Ty Okada, AJ Finley, Jarek Reed the second, and then Kobe Bryant, who's been there for about 3 years now. And then D'Anthony Bell from Cleveland, Nick Umanuwari, who was drafted this year, 2nd round, and he's going to be sitting right behind Julian Love, who came from the New York Giants at one point. And I think that's a pretty good secondary right there with the safeties. I'll be honest with you. I like Kobe Bryant mixed with Julian Love and that pick of Nick Umanuwari. Sorry.
He's an athletic freak, man.
He
can ball too. He's fast. He's physical.
6'3", 220. That's a lot coming at you back there.
You got flashes of the Legion of Boom there, the old Cam Chancellor role.
Absolutely, yeah. Moving on to the offense side of the ball, they made a lot of switches over here.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll go and take the receivers.
Yeah. Do you think?
So I'll start with the left receiver spot. You got Tyrone Broden, undrafted free agent from this year's class. Cody White, Jake Bobo, who I believe is a cult legend up there in Seattle. And then you got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's drafted in the 1st round in 2023. The right receiver spot, you have Montori Foster Jr., Derek Young, 5th round pick in this year's class, Torrey Horton, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who came over most recently from the New Orleans Saints. Longtime Packer chief player there. Also, he was with the Bills for a little bit. So, veteran receiver there. And then at the slot receiver, you have John Rice Plumlee, who was actually a quarterback in college. I believe he converted to receiver. So, little fun fact there. Steven Sims coming over from Baltimore. Ricky White III was drafted in the 7th round out of UNLV. Really big explosive playmaker. I liked him a lot coming on this year's class. Really surprised he lasted until the 7th round, but I digress. And then you get the big free agent signing coming over from the rival Rams, Mr. Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm. Cooper Cup. I like those three kind of sitting in there with the potential of when Marcus Valdez-Scantling kind of leaves, that Torrey Horton fitting in there, depending on how long Cooper Cup stays healthy and everything, and how long he's going to last. But that could be a pretty scary, three wide receiver punch if they're can get all on the same page and stay healthy.
Yeah, they completely remade the room. I mean, you trade out DK Metcalf, and then you bring in some veteran guys. You draft some young guys. I mean, that room looks completely different.
It's great to have those veteran guys just like teaching these new guys how to do it before they step out.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good move. Going over to the offensive line, I really like this left tackle depth. Let's start with Mason Richmond, 7th-round pick out of this year. And he was actually from Iowa. He plays offensive guard, offensive tackle, 6'5", 307. And then in front of him, you got, Josh Jones from Baltimore. And then you have Charles Cross, who was drafted first round as soon as in 2022. As soon as Russell Wilson left, they got him an offensive lineman.
Yep.
Left tackle, starting from the back, Anthony Bradford. And then they had a first-round pick here with Gray Zabel. Great pick with that. I think that protects the blind side and that protects the run lane, opens up the run lane in there as well. Center over here, you have Federico Barangas, Jalen Sundell, and then you have Olu Oluwatimi, 2023 5th-round pick.
Oluwatimi?
Oluwatimi.
Mm.
Holla. Right guard, again, another draft pick for the offensive lineman. Okay. 2025 6th-round pick, Bryce Cabledew. Okay. Cabledew. Well, the cable is due. 6'6", 306 from Kansas, offensive guard. Not too shabby. And then he's going to sit there in the depth. Okay. And Satoa Lumia.
Sure.
Yep.
Lamaya.
6'4", 319. That's a big body too.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Christian Haynes, 2024 draft pick in the 3rd round. Then your right tackle position, you have Amari Kite, Michael Jarrell, and Abram Lucas. Okay, these guys. Your starting lineup here is Charles Cross at left tackle, Gray Zabel at left guard, Oluwatimi at center, Christian Haynes, and Abram Lucas. Okay.
There's a lot of pressure on that offensive line to keep their quarterback upright.
Yeah, it really is. So, and then going to the tight end position with Noah Fant coming from Denver. He's already been there. That was with that trade with Drew Lock that was also going over there. I think he was.
That's a big Russell Wilson trade. Yeah.
Yep. And then AJ Barner, you've heard his name around too. He's in the depth over there. And then they drafted Elijah Arroyo in the 2nd round here in 2025. Then you have Eric Saubert from San Francisco. You have Marshall Lang, Nick Callerup, and then Mitch Van Voren. Voren. That's a lot of tight ends. I don't see. I think 4 of those guys are going to get cut. I think it's just going to be Elijah Arroyo, AJ Barner, and Noah Fant. In my personal opinion, but
probably we'll see. But I mean, you got Elijah Arroyo who can line up at receiver too. So
yeah, very good, very very good route runner, and a very good route runner at 6'5", 254.
Yeah,
that's wild.
And he's an athletic freak. I mean, he had dealt with that knee injury that he suffered at the Senior Bowl, so he didn't run, but he's fast.
Yeah. You want to take us home?
Let's do it. So I'll start with the fullbacks. You got Brady Russell coming over from Philadelphia, and then 5th-round pick Robbie Oates.
It's a good sized boy right there.
Yeah, 6'3", 274.
Yeah,
that's a big boy for sure.
A big boy, and that's a hell of a mustache.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be great with that stash. And then running back, you have Jacardia Wright, undrafted free agent from this year's class. George Holani, 7th-round pick in this year's class, Damian Martinez from the University of Miami. Loved him as a prospect. I think he's a big body, really good runner. You saw him develop and grow and get better as the year went on. Later in the year, he was able to use that big body, churn out some tough yardage. So good back there. My boy Kenny McIntosh, 7th-round pick in 2023. You have Zach Charbonnet, who was a 2nd-round pick in 2023 as the backup spot. And then you have Kenneth Walker III, who was a 2nd-round pick in 2022. So I believe this is the last year of his deal. So it'll be interesting to see what that running back room looks like after this season. But I'll go and finish off the offense. You had 3rd-round pick, one of your personal favorites, Jalen Moreau at the University of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Super fast, big arm, really, really athletic freak that can hopefully grow and develop. It's in there behind Drew Lock and Sam Darnold. And then you have the backup. You have Drew Lock coming over from the Giants. He spent 1 year with them over there. And then you have Sam Darnold, the big free agent signing darling of this class. Swapping spots with Geno Smith. They were able to ship Geno out to Las Vegas, bring Sam Darnold in. So biggest thing is Sam Darnold had a career year, so we'll see if you can kind of rekindle that magic in Seattle with Clint Kubiak.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting, man. It's this is a revamped, new coaches, new everything on in this team, in this division, and there's a lot going on the West Coast here, and I wouldn't be surprised if each one of these teams takes a loss to another one. So.
Oh yeah, the divisions usually beat up on each other. It'll be interesting to see what they do against other opponents too, though.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how the coaching staff handles everything in Seattle. What they can do with a brand new quarterback, what they can do with the depth with the Drew Lock, or if they can get Milroe to where he's got to be in the future. How long these guys can stay there, and how quickly they can just build what they're trying to do. How fast can they do it? How do they linger with trying to progress? Do they do it right away? We've seen the Bengals turn around in 1 year and become contenders just immediately. You know what I mean? Do they have it?
Well, I think Burrow had a huge thing to deal with that.
I mean, it does, but it comes with coaching too.
Yeah.
You can't have a terrible coach and just
I'm not
have one
saying
good
you
quarterback.
can't. I'm just saying, but Burrow masked a lot of those mistakes. I mean, I think I don't know why I can't think of his name. Why wasn't the head coach on his way out before they got the number 1 pick and got Burrow?
What the hell was his name? Zach?
Yeah, Zach. I want to say Zach Thomas, but it's not Zach Thomas.
No, it's not Zach Thomas. That was the running back for the Rams. That
I think it's the linebacker for the Dolphins. I'll look it up real quick. Hold on. All I have to do Zach Taylor.
Taylor.
Yeah, like Zach Taylor was on his way out, and then they looked into the first pick, and then you get Burrow. He masks a lot of those inefficiencies on the offense. Yeah. So I think that's one case that I would argue it's more of the talent of the player than the coach.
Yeah, I mean, I could say that he certainly Burrow is a phenomenal player. Obviously he's one of one. You know what I mean, for a reason, right? So
I've never heard of another Joe Burrow.
I'm gonna find another Joe Burrow and I'm gonna prank call his ass. Okay, and I'm just gonna talk straight football with him. Yeah, I'm gonna call and I'm gonna send him text messages like, "Don't lose this weekend." And by the way,
poor guy.
Just off topic here, if nobody has like got a hold of your text door neighbor, please do. Okay. Have you ever gotten a hold of your text door neighbor?
I don't know what you're saying.
Your text door neighbor.
I don't know that.
You've never contacted your text door neighbor?
Text door neighbor?
Your text door neighbor. Your text door neighbor. Your text door. Oh my God. I feel like I'm teaching you something every single week on the show. I don't know what to do with you anymore, Whisk.
Look, man.
Right.
Look.
Your text door neighbor. I got you. Don't worry
about it. Go ahead. Lay it on us.
Your text door neighbor is so like you have your number, right? On your phone number, right? It's ba 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 ba
Yeah.
ba ba
You got the
ba,
digits.
right? Yeah. So say your last four is like 4,000. Let's just say it's 4,000. Okay.
Okay.
Well, then your text door neighbor would be 4001 and 3999.
Oh, my
It's the
gosh.
people on the both sides of you. You've never, dude. You have text door
No, man.
neighbors. You have text door neighbors that you've never gotten a hold of. That's mad rude.
Look, man. I don't think they want to hear from me.
You don't know that. I got a hold of my text door neighbors.
I have no doubts. I'm not surprised by any means. Like, what? I wish we could do a poll right now because I would want to know how many people know this crap.
You know what?
Text door neighbor.
You know what? If you're hearing this right now, you guys let us know if you guys have ever heard of and or if you have any stories about contacting your text door neighbor. Make sure you guys email us at topdogcoverage@gmail.com. Okay. If you guys have had text door neighbor conversations, okay, or you know about this, email us at topdogcoverage@gmail.com. Okay.
Yeah, let us know because he has no idea what he's talking about. I feel like he's on an island, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So we'll find out.
Dude, it's
Let us
not.
know.
Let me just tell you something. It's not that I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? Because I've done it. Okay, I know what it's like. Okay, my text door neighbor is a very happy-go-lucky person that moved to Denver. Okay,
Okay. Good luck to that guy.
the other person just didn't want to answer me,
I wonder why.
and now we know why. All right, everybody, hit the like button, subscribe, follow us YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Swipe up, hit the 4 stars, 5 stars, leave a comment. Spotify, Apple. We love you. Peace. Have a great day.
Peace.